Welcome. Today we'll take a look at simile and metaphor. These are two different types of figures of speech. So let's start with metaphor. Metaphor is a figure of speech that makes an implied comparison. It does not use the words like or as in its phrasing. Let's take a look at some examples. My Aunt Bertie has a heart of gold. Now, this phrase isn't suggesting that Aunt Bertie literally has a heart made out of gold, but rather that she is a good person. She has a good heart. Jeff is a lion on the football field. Now, again, this is making an indirect comparison. So it's not saying that Jeff is literally a lion on the football field, but rather it's suggesting that Jeff is lion-like when he is on the football field. He may have attributes of a lion. And our last example, Juanita's hands were icicles after walking home in the snow. So again, it's not literally stating that Juanita had icicles for hands, but rather that her hands were very cold when she was walking home in the snow. Let's take a look at the simile. So the simile is a figure of speech that makes an indirect comparison. It uses the words like or as in its phrasing. Our first example here, Professor Martin is like an old badger, always nagging at students. So here we have the comparison between Professor Martin and the old badger. Notice that the word like has been used, which indicates that this is a simile instead of a metaphor. This is not stating that Professor Martin is an actual badger, but has badger-like qualities, particularly around nagging. Another example, Sven raced across the playground like a caffeinated hyena. So this is not saying that Sven is an actual caffeinated hyena, but that he acted that way when he raced across the playground. And finally, Soren is like my shield every time I have to see my family. So here we have Soren not as an actual shield, but having shields-like qualities when this person goes to family events with Soren. So we see here how simile and metaphor can operate, how we can use those both as readers and writers while we're reading so that we can better communicate and better understand what we're reading.